Hi, I'm Scott Wrighton. I serve as Decatur's city manager, and every week our staff is pleased to bring you these videos to tell you a little bit more about what's going on with your city government. On November 2nd, here in the City Council chambers on the third floor of the Decatur Civic Center, we'll be conducting a public hearing on some proposed changes to what we call Chapter 56. That's just our sort of bureaucratic term that describes the rules, the regulations, and the ordinances that governs focus on residential collection of garbage and recycling. The scheme that's been in place for many years in Decatur provides for assigned haulers in different districts of the city to be the exclusive hauler in those districts. And because they have a monopoly, the rates, the terms, and the conditions of service are established by the City Council. The reason for that sort of exclusive territory is because in some communities where citizens are just allowed to call whomever that they want, that means that you'll have people switching services frequently, and particularly it's a problem for the city because garbage trucks, perhaps more than any other vehicle on residential streets, tears up the streets. They're heavily backloaded, stopping and starting all the time, and particularly on our streets and on our alleys, this can be a real problem. So we are at a juncture that happens only once every 5 or 6 years or so, where the City Council will look at revisions to its garbage regulations. Now, garbage services have undergone a lot of change in Decatur just in the last couple years. There's been a lot of merging and acquisition of some of the smaller waste haulers, and due to pandemic, they've experienced considerable labor shortages and cost increases for equipment and materials significantly in excess of what is already historically high inflation costs. In fact, there hasn't been a rate increase allowed by city ordinance since the summer of 2021, and so not surprisingly, the local haulers are asking for an increase. And so there's a hearing on that, which is required by law, and staff will be recommending that they receive an increase, although not as much of an increase as the haulers have requested. More important than that, we're considering some other changes. One of them is that in those portions of the city where collection of trash and recyclables is in the alley, that in most cases, those alley collections are going to be moved to the street. Now, in the majority of the city, it's already street pickup, and it has been for many years, but there are some neighborhoods, around 1,200 or 1,300 customers in total, that have alley pickup that over a several-month period will be moved to street collection. Another key change is that yard waste will be available for people to use 6 weeks of the year, beginning in in April in the spring, and then again in the fall, beginning in November for another 6 weeks for people to have their yard waste picked up. But if you want yard waste during other times of the year, that's beyond basic service, and you can arrange for it with any hauler you like rather than your assigned hauler, but that would be an extra charge, and it's not included in the base fee. Another key change that we think will be critical to helping to clean up neighborhoods is that everybody's going to be asked in the residential areas to use either a 64-gallon tote or cart with wheels on it, which are the same size as the blue ones that have the City of Decatur's seal on it, which are principally used for recycling, and 95-gallon ones, which are the larger ones of all different colors and insignias on it that denote the different companies that have provided this service over the years. What's going away is an extra charge or a rental fee. The different companies call it different things for providing these carts and totes to you, the customer. It's, in other words, the cost of upgrading totes, and it'll be significant citywide, is built into the base cost. So if you already have a 64 or a 95-gallon tote that meets all the requirements, that's fine. But when it breaks or somehow is no longer usable, then you call your hauler and he'll provide another one to replace the old one at no additional cost beyond the monthly fee. We've also taken pains to change the ordinance so that what's been going on with some of the private haulers is they invent new categories of fees and sometimes pretty creative ways to try to charge customers more. And we think we've closed all those loopholes so that once you pay the base fee for the base services, that's what you get, and the garbage companies won't be able to charge you more. Base service will mean that weekly pickup of your trash, weekly pickup of your recyclables, and yard waste for 6 weeks in the spring, 6 weeks in the fall. Plus, it will also provide for 5 separate bulky waste pickup throughout the city in all the residential areas, but 5 separate times each year, and you can call the waste hauler for that at any time during the year to arrange for that. Now, there are limits in terms of what you can put out and how much, and if you go over that, then there's extra charges. But there's been some confusion in the past because the language of the ordinance wasn't as clear as it probably could have been, and you had some haulers saying, well, that means 5 items, it doesn't mean 5 separate pickups, and so that's been clarified as well. If you'd like some more information, want to read more details about some of these changes, you can look at the new the recommended ordinance. It still hasn't been approved by the City Council on our website, along with a short page that summarizes these changes, a separate chart that indicates what the proposed rates are over the next 5 years, and some other what we call promulgated rules that delve into the details of garbage and recycling. At its last City Council meeting, the Mayor and City Council also talked about video gaming. Now, this has been a regular topic, probably 3 or 4 times now in the City Council's agenda, which indicates that they're serious about taking a lot of time and being deliberative about this. I believe the City Council feels that there is too much video gaming in the city. They aren't opposed to video gaming, but if there's too much, then it can have a negative impact. And so the City Council wants to intervene in that to a certain extent to try to put a lid on that. But they've been very sensitive to the fact that some of the rules could have a negative impact on some businesses. Some of our local businesses have come to rely on a significant and steady stream of income from video gaming. And so just cutting that off could be detrimental to those local businesses. So finding that right middle ground between not being too hard on local businesses, but also achieving the policy objective that they want, which is to bring down the number of video gaming, the volume of video gaming, has been difficult. And they've taken the time to try to find a compromise. That compromise draft is also available on the city's website, and it basically proposes to freeze the number of establishments that have video gaming at the current number, and to more specifically say which license categories can have video gaming and which ones cannot, and to establish a threshold for all video gaming establishments except for parlors and clubs, that they have to have a certain percentage of their revenue from the business come from something other than video gaming. What that threshold is proposed at 40% in the draft ordinance that's before the City Council. Like I said, you can read more about the details of that on the city's website as well. That's decaturil.gov. Thanks for listening to this week's installment. We have more to come as the city works through a budget and a lot of year-end activities that I think will be of interest to you, and I look forward to sharing them with you next time.